together to shape the future of food. Yesterday's sessions were especially insightful. We began with the lecture on bioprinting as a food production technique, where we explored how 3D printing is opening new horizons in creating customized, safe, and sustainable food structures. The second lecture, Unlocking the Power of Millets and Millet-Based Products, reminded us of the immense potential of millets in ensuring food and nutritional security, particularly in changing climatic conditions. We concluded with natural sweeteners, food security aspects, sustainability, and health impacts, where we learned about healthier alternatives to refined sugar and their importance in promoting sustainable diets. Today we have another exciting lineup of lectures and discussions. Our first lecture will be on eating competence, food consumption and health outcomes, and overview, which will help us understand how our attitudes and behavior toward food can shape overall health and well-being. The second lecture will focus on vending machines, food safety and quality assessment focused on food handlers and the variables involved in the industry, giving us insights into the safety and quality aspects of automated food distribution systems. Later in the day, we will have a tutorial session titled Classroom Discussion on the Best Ways to Achieve Better Nutrition and Better Taste in Agreement with Safety Standards in a Sustainable World. This will be an open and interactive discussion for everyone to share their ideas, and as you all know, we will be concluding the day with the assessment exam. So without taking any more time, let's begin our first lecture for the day. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Antonio Rapso once again, who will be speaking on eating competence, food consumption and health outcomes and overview. Sir, we are delighted to have you with us once again. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, and welcome you to one more day of our course. And we will start this session with an overview on eating competence, food consumption, and health outcomes, as it is showed in this slide. And first of all, we'll see and we'll discuss about what is eating competence and what is being eating competent regarding our daily attitudes and behaviors regarding what we take in all meals and during all the day. So we have mainly four components when we talk about eating competence, and we have first of all the eating attitude, that is having a positive, relaxed and flexible interest in food and eating. The internal regulation, being naturally attentive to the internal signals of hunger, appetite and satiety to guide how much to eat, supporting stable body weight. The food acceptance, being interested in food and having the capacity to accept and like a wide variety of foods, including new foods. We can relate it also this with another terminology we have learned in the previous sessions and discussed a lot, that was the food neophilia. And the contextual skills, meaning having resources to manage the food context, meal planning, and the permission to eat adequate amounts of the preferred foods at predictable times. So when we can harmonize and conjugate all these components, we can say we are eating competence. This eating competence was developed for nutrition education and to characterize eating-related behavior. And several researches show that this eating competence is related to diet quality and health indicators for various population groups. They are associated with increased consumption of fruits and vegetables, the adherence to the Mediterranean diet, and greater skills in managing the food context. Furthermore, studies revealed that individuals with higher eating competence, this we can measure through a scale, and even higher values of eating competence tend to be more physically active, lower cardiovascular diseases or cardiovascular risk we can find, and also have better sleep quality. All of this is interconnected. So eating competence is not restricted to the individual scope, but is also associated with positive eating habits by the family, by parents, when feeding school-age children and preschool children. And findings also reveal that eating competence is linked to psychological and behavioral aspects, such as greater satisfaction with the body weight and lower frequency of behavior associated with eating disorders. Considering that this eating competence is linked with health indicators in several groups of the population, developing skills that increase this eating competence might be a strategy to improve the quality of the diet and prevent some non-communicable diseases like obesity and others. Eating attitude, one of the components of eating competence. Eating attitude involves the beliefs, thoughts, and feelings that lead to behaviors that affect how individuals relate to food and influence food choices and consequently health. The construction of eating attitude starts in childhood and is an aspect of great relevance of health promotion. So, according to the concept of eating competence, the ideal eating attitude refers to being positive about food and eating, that is, enjoying eating and feeling comfortable about it, as well as having an interest in food and showing self confidence and tranquility concerning the food choices. Eating competent individuals usually tend to have less body disaffection and less expression of weight control, as well as lower psychosocial characteristics related to disordered eating, fewer food dislikes, and greater food acceptance. So, by seeing this, we can also relate the status of being more neophilic or less neophilic with eating competence. So, people that are more neophilic, we can assume they also can be more eating competent than the others that are more neophilic. As eating competence increased, decreases were observed in the tendency towards bulimic thoughts, drive for teethness, and body disaffection. Regarding eating attitude, this component was inversely associated with restraining eating, body disaffection, and desire being thin. Food accents. I think we have started to discuss this and the importance of organoleptic characteristics regarding to food, and not only the organoleptic, but all that make a kind of food being accepted or not so well accepted or not for a population, for a person. And the sensory characteristics, of course, especially taste, are one of the most determinant and most important factors we can relate to food intake. However, and according to the eating competence concept, enjoyment and pleasure are important motivators of these food choices, food selection. So, food acceptance, in addition to being associated with economic, environment, social, and cultural factors, is a determinant of food variety. It is well known that dietary variety contributes to more complete and healthy nutrition, as no single food can provide all the nutrients that we need. A study of adults demonstrated that dairy variety was strongly associated with better nutritional adequacy. That is, I think, expectable. And food accents highlights attitudes and behaviors such as feeling calm in the presence of new and unfamiliar foods, feeling comfortable about food preferences, including foods with sugar, salt, fat, and other ingredients recognized as unhealthy, being able to make food choices, accepting or refusing this food that is offered without any kind of constraints, having the ability to eat foods that you don't like very much if the situation demands it, and demonstrate curiosity about food with an inclination to try new foods and eventually include new options in the food repertoire. Thus, this component of eating competence seems to be an important aspect of eating behavior for health promotion. And of course, all of this you can think how important it is also to evaluate how eating competent can be the individuals of one population to see also their availability or how they are available to try new foods. Then another component is the internal regulation, and this component is related to identify the physical signs of hunger, appetite, and satiety, which will guide the amount of food to be eaten to contribute to natural maintenance of healthy and stable body weight. So people with better internal regulation usually tend to have more regular meals as they are naturally aware of the signs of hunger and can maintain a predictable rhythm of meals. In addition, internal regulation allows confidence in the experience of satiety, which contributes not only to health stability but also to satisfaction with the body shape. Internal regulation is part of the central idea of intuitive eating and is also highlighted in mindful eating as the improvement in awareness of internal and external experiences allows to individual to make more rational and less impulsive choices. This internal regulation was linked to body mass index, body size perception, and food consumption, and the absence of internal regulation is linked to inability to recognize sensations related to anger, satiety, as well as bulimic thoughts and feelings of uncomfortable anger. The contextual skills, the other component of eating competence. This is linked to the ability to manage the food context. And what is this? It is the develop of food shopping strategies, plan meals, have cooking skills that enable food autonomy and manage the time dedicated to preparing and consuming meals. Food preparation skills have been positively associated with diet variety, increasing diet quality. The cooking contributes to a healthier diet as it develops multiple knowledge about the different properties of food, making the cook acquire a conscious and objective attitude towards food, favoring the preparation of palatable, accurate, and good quality meals. To minimize the replacement of fresh foods and regional culinary preparations by industrialized and ready-to-eat products, food systems should aim to preserve food cultures, encouraging the development of culinary skills to favor the consumption of artisanal and homemade meals. And this is very, very relevant in most of our modern and industrial societies. This is a very important point. So we have here a study, an American survey that interviewed 674 men and 946 women with age ranges between 18 and 23 and showed that those who reported more frequent preparation of their meals consumed amounts of fat, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and calcium closer to the dietary goals. In a recent Brazilian study, showed that the parents with autonomy and confidence in their cooking skills provide their children with a diet with fewer artificial and ultra-processed foods, indicating in this sense the importance of managing the food context in promoting the individual's and family's nutritional health. The weakness of the transmission of cooking skills between generations, we see that it favors the consumption of industrialized and unhealthy foods. So we have exactly the opposite. And developing contextual skills allows the understanding that dealing with the food context is not a waste of time. On the contrary, it is an essential activity for life and for the promotion and maintenance of health, which can become a source of pleasure too. Contextual skills are directly associated with the habit of planning meals using all food groups, as we have learned already in the first sessions, and nutrition facts, labels, as well as preparing meals and eating at home more frequently. The inventory, the eating competence inventory. This can be evaluated using a kind of scale and inventory that is called the Sacher Eating Competence Inventory, a tool consisting of a 16-item self-administrated questionnaire that assesses the overall eating competence and its four components we have just learned about them. So the items are answered with the options always, often, sometimes, rarely, and never. The score is obtained by the sum of the answers, as we can find here, and it can range from 0 to 48. And the cutoff for the definition of eating competence is 32 and above. So we should have at least this classification of 32 between 0 to 48. And the higher the score we obtain, of course, the higher eating competence we have. This concept of eating competence has been assessed in several countries and is associated with health indicators such as the food consumption, the maintenance of body weight, the occurrence of diseases and factors related with other health aspects too, such as the sleep quality, physical activity, stress management, and behaviors linked to eating disorders. What can we conclude from this? The rising prevalence of diseases linked to food and nutrition highlights the need to widen one's perspective on food and its impact on health and well-being, considering not only the nutrients and food combinations, but also the behavioral dimensions of eating practices. So making food choices is a common and expected part of daily life, and it is an essential factor in everyone's life, and of course it will be its connection with everyone's health, everyone's quality of life. Recent reports published by the FAO and the World Health Organization include health nutritional recommendations that take into account attitudes and behaviors that are in accordance with the behavioral model proposed by Sacher. It means the eating competence inventory. In addition, the investigators, the researchers in this field of eating behavior emphasize the need to better understand attitudes toward food and eating in the general public by employing validated instruments to achieve this. So, considering that eating competence has been associated with diet quality and health outcomes, developing skills that increase this eating competence might be an interesting strategy to improve nutritional health and prevent obesity and, of course, other chronic diseases, non-communicable diseases. The complexity of food choices has been examined on many fronts. And these fronts we can describe as social, behavioral, biological sciences, representing a great challenge for applying a unique and sample theoretical model. So, multiple perspectives are suggested, as no single theory can clearly explain food decision making. What is behind our decision to opt for one food and not for the other? So further studies are necessary to evaluate eating competence among different population groups and identify factors that might affect it to stimulate policies and actions to improve this eating competence among the whole population groups. So, let me know your opinion about this concept and any questions you have. We can discuss it now. Thank you very much. Have you already heard about this eating competence? Do you have uh, an eating competence inventory or scale validated here for the Indian population? Yes, no? I think no. I think you almost sure you don't have it. Let me know what you think about this. I will become to the first slide or to the first slide where we have the components of the eating competence.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Like eating competence, I'm hearing it for first time.
Yes.
But like I want to ask if it is about eating attitude, food acceptance, and trust and all, then won't it include unhealthy food also?
Yes, in some way, yes. This is the sum of all these components. Of course, we must be the food acceptance. It is not only healthy foods. We can include, of course, the question here is the portions, is the frequency. We will include some of kind of products. In some guidelines, I didn't show here, but in some guidelines, we have also sugar products, confectionery products in the top of the pyramid, that it's not forbidden. We don't say those foods are forbidden because we have a statement that we say that what is forbidden, it is what people want more. So they are sold. They are food products. You will not die if you eat sometime a sweet or high fat product. But what you must know is this kind of choices, this kind of products should be less frequent than, of course, other elements you have to consume in a more frequent way. So yes, and of course the pleasure regarding to food it is important. That is one of the main differences between us, for example, and the other animals. That we have this social and this pleasure related to eating. So of course this also has to be taken into consideration. But of course, we have to take also in consideration the
Like because
importance.
it's talking about like positive thing and trusting. So if someone likes to eat only unhealthy foods or junk foods,
No.
then how can it?
Now we have to once again the education and the training and of course all these learning skills that generation to generation must pass and less in, the consuming of less industrialized products that it is also included here. Of course, we have to find a balance. It is not saying, oh, I only like junk food, I only like industrialized, so I have a positive feeling only related to that, so I will be no eating. No, this is a sum, a lot of components, and of course, some of them are related to pleasure, to the food preferences, but others are related, of course, with healthy choices. Healthy choices,
So
and
then,
how are we to educate and train people to make these healthier choices more frequently?
then why this concept of eating competence? We can say them like we have to knowledge people and we have to like aware people about them. Then why this concept of eating competence?
Because this concept will relate all of these components. It is not only for one side, it is not only what we learn on the dietary guidelines on food education, it is also the psychological and this internal regulation, what is behind our motivations to make this kind of choice. It is our how to learn, and this is different from people to people. It is different, the reasons of you to make one choice from your colleague, from me, from another people, what is behind, what are the internal regulations, and then the context of skills, of course, this is also very important, as I showed in these two studies in Brazil and the United States. This will make all the difference at the time of having a more competent or less competent individual, and this will contribute. This is related with higher health impacts, positive health impacts on people's life.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So my question is that eating competence have any food interaction with people with anorexia nervosa?
If eating competence as a kind of
इंट्रैक्शन या फिर इंटररिलेट विथ people with anorexia nervosa,
any kind
eating
of
disorder.
interaction. Yes, those diseases, anorexia and bulimic diseases, are some diseases that I say the treatment. It is, of course, the nutrition, the role of the nutritionist and the dietitian role is important, of course, but more than the nutrition therapy, the psychological accompaniment and therapy is also very important. If we see this concept of eating competence, it is more than the nutrition. We have here these internal regulations and all this psychological profile and analysis that is quite relevant. The multidisciplinary action, not only from the nutrition part, but also with other health professionals, psychologically, it is very important. So yes, it is important to know, of course, what is behind the motivations of those people and to learn about it, and the competence is related. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, how can we promote food curiosity and variety in the child's diet?
How can we promote foodie curiosity? Well, it will depend a lot of the of the personality of the populations, and we have already found that when we were studying the monophobic or monophilic population. We have in some cases people more curious, people more interested in trying new things, new foods, just because they have curiosity. That one of the things we have to study. What is behind the motivations? Because I can be interested in tasting, try this new food for simply for curiosity, or for example, you have just told me this has some kind of healthy properties or health benefits, so that I will try if I can include it in my daily diet. So of course it is important. Now, how can we stimulate the people to be more curious in trying those things? It is about training sessions. It is about motivate them. But more important than all, since very early in their lives, children, that the role of the school, of the educators, of the parents are very important to make the children be open to try, at least try all kinds of foods. So that is the most important, in my opinion.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your question.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So, sir, my question is, can traditional cooking practices affect eating competence and their food quality?
Yes, for sure, and that is one point that we want to make it clear: the importance of the transmission of the cooking practices and the tradition from generation to generation, and this is related also with higher indexes of eating competence. And when we have the consumption of more ultra-processed foods, more industrialized foods, these values decrease. So yes, of course, it is well related. Yes, as I shown, I think in the study. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
well related. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning.
So my question is like how the developing eating competence can address the growing problem of obesity and unhealthy food behavior when it is focusing more on eating like enjoy the eating rather than feeling anxious and guilty about the food we eat.
Yes, because in theory, here we are relating all of these aspects, the enjoyable of the foods, but also the consumption of the foods in the adequate portions and with respect and respecting what is concerned to the dietary guidelines. So this is a kind of to learn people to have pleasure and enjoy, and also the cooking process, the foods, to eating less industrialized, less ultra-processed foods, and pass they acknowledge about the cuisine processing to the next generations, and with this, we can achieve that goal.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So, what direction in research are most promising for linking eating competence with better population health in future?
Linking the eating competence with the healthy of the population in the future.
Yeah.
Yes, what we want is competent individuals that they have pleasure in what they eat, and these behaviors are linked and are in regard with the guidelines and recommendations that organizations like the FAO and the World Health Organizations preconize. So, of course, and for eating competent individuals, it is important to know and to study what is behind their motivations, behind the options they might regard with food. So only when we have this knowledge, we can make some actions to modulate, to change these behaviors and motivations of that people. So with that knowledge, I believe they can be more effective. And yes, it is related, and it is well demonstrated in several studies that more competent eating individuals are related with less prevalence of the micro is not working.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My question is this eating competence model that you mentioned, and you suggested that SATUS inventory. So, after we administer this
These questionnaires.
questionnaire, and the result says that if it's less than 32 or more than 32,
Yes, it was considered that we are in the presence of an eating competent individual when we have the results better than 32. And of course, even higher results, more eating competent, we can label that that population, that individual. Yes.
so would you recommend any literature or your studies where if the score is less than 32, what steps or strategies can we aim both at an individual level and both and at a group level or a community level strategies to improve the eating competence?
Yes, of course, that is what we have been talking about. After we, for example, to know the eating competence level of some population, then we can assess and we can evaluate the reasons that are behind that eating competence, and by evaluating this inventory. So we can see where are the less punctuations are related with the eating attitude, internal regulation, food acceptance, because this questionnaire inventory is divided and regarded with these four components. And of course, then with the results, we can act in that communities. And for example, regarding if we have a population with lower index of food acceptance, we can find strategies to making food more appealing, or to make some sessions to explain how it's important to include some of these foods in their diet. So of course it is important to know these first results. You can do it, you can apply this survey as a pilot, and then of course apply after a few periods of these interventions to see how it changed or not. Yes, thank you.
So one question, any place where we use this and the results of uh, any intervention
If any
across
place where this is used, you ask.
and
This has been validated in a lot of countries. If you are doing this paper, you see then a lot of countries. But for example, in Brazil, it is very well developed. In United States, and we have also in European countries, Turkey are now starting also to develop this in Portugal. So it is interesting, and then interesting to compare the results between the countries, and to see where can we find more eating competent populations and individuals. Yes, but here if you go through this paper that is open access, you can see the more contextual widespreading of eating competence.
so one more question, in general question, in India nowadays both the husband and the wife work in most places in the urban places, and even in rural areas the wife also has to go to the fields to work. Now in US I'm told that they do not have any domestic help or maids, they have to do everything on their own. In US, how does it work in Europe? How, because you said that
Everything, no,
cooking.
but most, yes, we have we can say very industrialized societies. It is not 100%, but yes, of course you have also rural areas and people living there, but the mainly population is focused on the main urban centers, and there it is complicated to have eating habits, for example, compared with other rural areas, that the production, the process of food is quite different. Yes, but that is also the context, and a very different context. And yeah, and this is also incorporated here when we considering the ET competence, the contextual skills also. Yes.
So I'm staying here, and
Yes.
since I'm staying outside my home, I have to depend on food from the restaurants or the hostels. So even if I know that this is not the right food to eat, but since I do not have a choice or limited
That
choices,
is
I
your
can
context.
yes.
Yes. Yes, and of course that is related. For example, you have preferable choices, but you don't have access to the choices. So of course that is contemplated. But how long you will eating in this context, in this hostel? for example. That is also related. The thing is what we will eat or what will be our food habits for 5 days, for 2 weeks. Another thing is the frequently what we eat during our life, during 1 year, during 2 years.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, do you think the modern diet culture has disconnected people from the
From the natural, I don't understand the last part.
natural eating competence?
It can be, of course. This is part of our work also to not make people forget the traditionals and the importance of consume eating local products. Of course, it can be. It's not so easy because in some places, particularly in some urban places, it's very difficult to manage the lifestyles of people because they have a very intense, both men and women, lifestyle, going for work early in the morning, arrive at home late by night. So of course, to say to that people that they make to prepare their meals, locally products and everything, it is not easy because simply they don't have time. But we must find some strategies and find some options also for these people to make healthier choices. But that will depend the context once again. It is different, for example, when we have just one part of the couple that goes to work. For example, man goes to work and the woman can be at home and preparing and manage all these things. It is quite different in another family that both will go working early in the morning and arrive late. That they can, these two couples can live in the same place, in the same context, in the same, even in the same building, but their lifestyles is quite different and very much different to manage all these aspects related to food choices, food preparation, and of course that will have influence.
Sir, I would also like to know in your area which traditional food re- replaced by replaced by the modern diet.
That is an interesting question, but complicated because, from my perspective, you can't substitute. Of course, the food industry, food companies are trying to make some not new foods, but adapt some traditional recipes and put them in a box that you can buy the box with that the recipe, that food preparation inside, and for example, take it to the microwave, and in 5 minutes or less, you have it prepared. But then, when you see the label and all the components that are in that preparation, you might be scared because, of course, a lot of food preservatives, a lot of food additives, the total amount of salt you have there, it's totally different. If you buy the raw materials, the ingredients one by one, and prepare that recipe at home, of course, the time you have to spend on buying each natural product, each ingredient, and then the time you need to go to the kitchen and to prepare all of this is quite different. But of course, what food industry, food companies are looking for, it's to find some alternatives and also pleasant. Of course, the taste is very important. The idea is that people can buy it and in 5 minutes have that preparation. And the taste is more similar to the taste they are accustomed to. But not only the taste, then if we see the composition, the nutritional composition of that meal can be quite different. But it is what we have, and of course, food industry is also trying to develop these new strategies, new foods that people have no time. If I have no time to prepare to eat this traditional recipe, what can I do? Oh, I have this alternative that in 5 minutes, if I have no time, in 5 minutes to microwave and I have the meal. People are buying it. But the most of these options, one of the biggest problems is the total amount of salt, and not for talking of the other things, the food additives, but the quantity, the amount of salt added to these foods are very very high, and so that is one of the reasons we have not only for because we add the salt to the foods, but we are consuming more of these kind of products, more of these industrialized, processed, ultra-processed foods that contain already a very high amount of sodium chloride. So uh, that is one of the challenges we have today. How to say people to produce locally, to make their own foods, to prepare the meals. If they have no time, what can I do? Get unemployed? Not going out for work? If I don't go for work, I don't have money, I can't eat nothing. What can I do? Yes, because we have to align our recommendations and our strategies, of course, with the real life and with the real life of people. We can't say people now you can't buy more industrialized products, you can't buy more of these kind of products. You have to change your choices regarding food. But how to do it? You go to my home and you prepare. If it's that possible, okay, I will start to change because some of these choices are not planned by the people, are alternatives that people find according to their lives, to their jobs, to their tasks they have daily in their. So it is not easy, of course. Sometimes we can be here in this room discussing all these aspects, but other thing is when we go to the real life and we have to face the people and say how to change this. And people will simply say, I have no money. I have no conditions of my life in my day to make what are you telling to me. I have not that possibility. Only possibility I have to have lunch is eating this. And it is this or nothing. So we have to find here some strategy and some solutions. And of course, some of these called industrialized food products. We have also the food industry trying to work on less harmful products with reduced content of fat, reduced content of salt. Of course, that is one of the options. That is one of the options because the best would be people go to the markets, go to the farms, get the products, prepare the dishes, and but where is the time, the conditions to do that? If we can't make the people to opt for the best option, at least make them to make better options that they are doing at this moment.
They
That
earn
is
that much of money, still they eating that kind of unhealthy food.
yes, yes. That must be taken into consideration, of course.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I have one question. What are the effective strategies for the health promotion that especially target the development of positive attitude in childhood and adolescence person?
I understand. Sorry. The health promotion. If you can speak a little bit louder.
What are the strategies for health promotion
Yes.
for the development of childhood and adolescence person?
What are the strategies for health promotion regarding in the
Adolescence and childhood.
adolescence and childhood? In my point of view, today we have one very important thing that is social media. And at my early ages and a few years ago, we had a television where all the every children and also adolescents were seeing television and the cartoons on television. And the middle, in the intervals of these cartoons, you have marketing and also marketing related to food and then some kind of toys addressed to these foods that they buy the food also to have the toy. So this stimulated the foods that want to buy that kind of food. Nowadays we have also and already the children every time with the mobile phone and seeing the advertisements we have in social media, and it is important also to add on this. And besides of this, the education sessions and the training have already discussed here that is very important to have on that early ages because it is the behaviors they will modulate in those critical ages that they will adopt in the future years of their lives. Yes, it is a critical, very critical age point of cycle life cycle that we must act, and very important we have a presence in the kindergartens, in the schools, to work together with the educators, with the parents, and with the children. Yes, very, very, very important. And the role of the social media, the role television, of the advertisements that are available to food, regarding to food that are available to that population is very important, and it should be very well regulated as well. So yes,
Thank you, sir.
thank you very much for your question. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a meaningful and insightful session. Your talk gave us a deeper understanding of how eating competence is not just about what we eat, but also about our attitude towards food, our awareness of hunger and fullness, and the way we manage our food environment. It was truly interesting to learn how factors like food acceptance, internal regulation, and contextual skills can shape our overall health and well being. Your presentation has encouraged us to look at food behavior more holistically, combining nutrition, psychology, and lifestyle for a balanced approach to healthy living. With that, we conclude the first lecture of the day. We'll now take a short tea break before we move on to the next session. Please be back on time so we can continue our second lecture. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had a refreshing tea break and some good conversation during the break. Before commencing the next session, I would first invite Ms. Sugandhi for the brief summary of the previous lecture by Dr. Rapso. Over to you, Sugandhi.
Good morning to one and all present here. It gives me a great pleasure to brief you all about today's morning session. Today's discussion highlighted the concept of EC, that is eating competition, a behavior model developed to understand, improve how individuals related to food. EC connects the nutrition knowledge with the real life eating habits and is strongly linked to better diet quality, physical health, and psychological well being. Study shows that the individual with higher EC eat more fruits and vegetables, follow the regional diet, maintain better body weight, they are more physically active and have lower cardiovascular risk and experience the better sleep quality. They show greater satisfaction with body image and fewer disordered eating behavior. The main components of EC are the eating attitude, a positive, relaxed, and confident approach to food. It involves enjoying eating without guilt and feeling comfortable with the food choices. Food acceptance, openness to trying and enjoying a variety of food, This encourages the dietary diversity, which improves the nutritional adequacy, internal regulation, recognizing and responding to hunger and fullness cues. It helps to maintain stable weight and foster the mindful eating rather than emotional or restrictive eating. The assessment tool EC can be measured using the eating competence inventory, a 16-item questionnaire score. Below higher EC is linked to better nutrient intake and meal patterns, improved sleep, stress management, and the mental health, lower risk of obesity and the chronic diseases. With this, the lecture emphasizes the healthy eating habit is not about the nutrients but also about the attitudes, behavior, and the food related skills. Promoting eating competence can therefore be effective strategy to enhance the public health, prevent the chronic diseases, and to foster a healthy relationship with food. Thank you.
Thank you, Sugandhi, for the thoughtful recap. We are all set to begin our second lecture of the day, and once again, we have with us Dr. Antonio Rapso, whose sessions have already inspired us to look at food and nutrition through both scientific and human perspectives. In this upcoming session, he will be speaking on vending machines, food safety and quality assessment focused on food handlers, and the variables involved in the industry. This topic will help us understand how technology driven food systems maintain safety and quality, and how the role of food handlers and operational factors can influence the food we consume through these systems. So, without any delay, please join me in welcoming once again Dr. Antonio Rapso to deliver his lecture.
Good morning once again, and here we are for this second session of the day entitled Vending Machines, Food Safety and Quality Assessment focused on food handlers and the variables involved in the industry. And I will start for asking you if what is your knowledge about these devices, vending machines, if you have already buy anything, any food item from these devices. At least until the moment I'm here, I didn't see a lot of vending machines, especially in the here in the neighborhoods. So we'll discuss a little on this industry and on this way of expanding foods, sell foods that in some societies, in some places, are a very growing industry, and of course we can find some benefits and also some drawbacks of this type of expanding foods. When we talk about the vending industry, it's important to mention that it is not only related to foods. A lot of items can be sold automatically through these devices, and Japan is the world leader in this aspect. They sell everything in vending machines, and it represents a very huge amount of money. And they have a lot of machines all over, not only in some specific place in companies, university campus, health service buildings, but also in the streets, every place. So we have a proportion of one machine per 31 citizens, and it represents about 23 and a half, almost 23 and a half million euros per years regarding the income, regarding the funding representation of this industry. In Spain, and why Spain? Spain is where this study was carried out. So I bring here some data from Spain, and also because Spain is one of the leaders in the European context. So anyway, you can see the difference of representation of this industry when compared with the US and Japan. You have here in Spain 2 billion per year and 95 citizens for one machine per 95 citizens. And the most representative kind of product sold in vending machines in Spain are foods, but don't forget also that tobacco is also a very commercialized product in these devices. Of course, we will focus on foods. And when we divide in type of food, we find that hot drinks are the most present items that you can find in machines, and then of course other kind of food, snacks, cool drinks, and we have already some ready-to-eat prepared foods that can be found, some salads that can be found in these devices, of course, in less in less quantities, less amounts. But you have already been seeing those kinds of foods also present in the machines. This session, this first session, because in perhaps tomorrow and the other day we'll have other session regarding the nutritional properties, nutritional quality, and the trends of consumption of the population regarding this industry. But firstly, we will see how safe can be food expended from these machines. And we first have to talk about the HACCP system. I don't know if all of you have already heard about it. In Portugal, it is mandatory for every people that sell food to adopt and to have an implemented HACCP system in their company. The only exception is the primary production. So all the other elements all over the food chain must have an hazard analysis critical control point system implemented and adopted in the companies. And starting to talk about this HCCP system, it was by the end of the 80s of the past century that it was already considered the most appropriate method to make or to assure this food safety. And during the times and other studies later found that all vending machine companies should have to control the quality and safety of their operations by the adoption and the using of this system. Here in the image you can see some examples of food vending machines and what information must be included on these devices. Of course, the product and who is offering this product, the type of product that is selling, the price, the identity of the supplier, and the address telephone number where complaints must be handled. Regarding the machine that dispenses the product, the type of coins it accepts, the instructions for obtaining the desired product, as well as the accreditation for compliance with applicable technical regulations. Not only the coins, at this point we have also some machines that also say accept credit and debit cards and banknotes. But all of these specifications must be acknowledged of the consumer when arrive to the machine and when they want to obtain something from the machine. So, if these vending machines are installed in a premise belonging to a company or private activity, the owners of the same shall be jointly liable with the owner of the vending machine itself to the buyer about the compliance with obligations arising from the automatic sale. And we have then the food handlers. Food handlers are those people that will handle and manipulate the food at some point of food chain. And even those ones who make the transportation of these food items from the company to the vending machine, they are food handlers. So traditional approaches to food hygiene controls, such as the legislation, inspections, and in-product testing, have proven to be inefficient. So training is a possible solution. We have to train these people, educate these people, offering long-term benefits that are transferred through all the food industry. And these both dimensions, education and training, are essential in the implementation of any hazard analysis critical control point system. So, training should be provided to supervisory personnel, usually middle managers on standards of conduct, and support from those responsible for the supervisory role will increase the success of any food safety program within the industry. everyone must be involved in the implementation of the system, in the training sessions, in the educations, and all of the elements in a company, in a food company, must be aware of their responsibilities and must participate as part of this implementation and monitoring of this HACP system. Regarding the microbiology, it will depend, of course, the type of food we are selling in these devices. But, for example, beverage vending machines are stocked, cleaned, and maintained by operating companies. Cleaning frequency varies depending the type of machine, frequency of use, and location. And inside the machine, there are several areas where moist dust can accumulate and which need to be cleaned to prevent the growth of microorganisms. Otherwise, we have the very good conditions for these microorganisms to develop. We have, for example, milk powder, coffee, chocolate powder, we have water. So if we don't hygienize, sanitize properly these machines with the frequent use of them, the conditions for the microbial growth are increased a lot. So, of the foods available, most are confectionery products or packaged snacks, such as chocolate bars or chips, and however, more perishable foods, such as sandwiches and all cooked and go meals, are increasingly sold in vending machines, and temperature and expiration date are also two important aspects when it comes to these foods. This will always depend on the kind of foods we have. There aren't a lot of studies in this specific industry, in these specific foods that come from expanded from the vending machines. But in the studies we can find in the literature, there are some reports identifying some microorganisms like this are mentioning here, and also in cold water dispensers and cool beverage vending machines, and another ones on hot beverage vending machines. We can find some of those with more than 1 decade, more than 2 decades. In this case, Robertson analyzed samples from the dispenser nozzle areas, drip trays, and splash areas of both hot and cold beverage machines, and he found that the total viable microorganism count in the dispenser nozzle was 100 times higher than in the other two areas. And E. coli was also found in 13% of the nozzles. Later, these researchers also reported the case of food poisoning by Bacillus cereus at a manufacturing plant in the state of Minneapolis, United States, where employees suffered from vomiting and nausea 1 hour after drinking hot chocolate dispensed from a vending machine located at the plant. Today, there are more studies, of course, focused on the identification of some of these microorganisms, and in this particular case of Bacillus cereus, we have this study not beverage vending machines and hot chocolate dispensed by these machines using the PCR and the RIPD methods to identify the presence of these microorganisms. Commercially prepared sandwiches have also been responsible for foodborne outbreaks. A large amount of different pathogens, and these outbreaks can also include some of these microorganisms like Staphylococcus, Campylobacter, Salmonella, and et al. And of course, some of these are related with food products we find in vending machines. Cook and chill meals that we are finding also in some vending machines are frequently reheated in a microwave oven located next to the machine. And we can imagine that the potential risk, especially of listeria in these meals, in these foods, appears to be increased by concerns about the ability of some microwaves to read the food adequately. So one study reported the effect of standard microwave heating of deliberately contaminated foods. Another important aspect is the quality of the water. These hot drink machines, the main component of the food, of the drink sold, is water. So it is important to assure that it complies with all the legislation aspects and that we have potable water in the machines. So what we made regarding this, or what was the study we conducted? So the main goals of the study were to analyze the quality and safety parameters of food products that these devices expanded that were sold in vending machines. So an hygienic sanitary assessment we conducted in about 340 machines located in Spain, in the island of Gran Canaria, and we applied surveys regarding the hygiene measures undertaken, regarding the knowledge of food handlers, and of course, we have also undertaken microbiological analysis of the food and water that were included in the machines and physicochemical water controls. So this was to assess the quality and safety parameters of these products. Despite of the positive results we obtained from the service applied to all the vending machines, achieving a total mean score of 87.6, this is out of 100, the microbiological analysis identified 5%, almost 6% of the 105 food samples that were contaminated with listeria. So this is quite concerns. While other microorganisms were not identified or were below the legally permitted limits. The lack of vehicles able to transport this perishable food at the adequate temperatures and the fact that some refrigerated vending machines were not at an ideal cooling temperature may be the factors we found that most contributed to these not so good or these negative values. The assessment tools we used revealed hygienic deficiencies in the transportation and microbiological quality of some of these products, despite the favorable results obtained in the surveys and food handler examinations, indicating that this relationship should be subject of course, further investigations to improve the usefulness in the field of this HACCP system and to assure the safety and quality parameters of the food that is sold in the vending machines. What can we conclude? And what is concluded from this study? So it provided important data about the relationship between the hygienic sanitary state of vending machines and the quality safety of the products expended by them, taking into account the importance of hygienic knowledge of the intervening food handlers. The service, this hygienic assessment service applied to the food handlers and the food handlers examinations about their knowledge about the good hygiene practices, good manufacturing practices, was reviewed and was proven to be a very interesting tool for assessing the prerequisites to the implementation of the hazard analysis critical control points system. In this case, discovering the deficiencies in the transportation of food and possible hygiene deficiencies found during the processing of products produced by the vending company. Therefore, we believe that vending companies should focus on their efforts on ensuring the hygiene of their products by reducing risks rather than trying to extend their shelf life, which could contribute to increasing these very risks. And further investigations, further studies focused on this relationship between the hygienic sanitary state of the vending machines and the hygienic knowledge of food handlers of the good hygiene practices should provide more data about the importance of the influence of hygienic knowledge and its applicability by food handlers in the quality and safety of the products expended by or to the consumer. This is a very important point. So please let me know your experience, your knowledge, your contact with these devices. Have you already buy something from a vending machine? Any food product? Do you think that they have, from the point of view of safety, and please leave the discussion about the nutritional quality of the products for another session we will have, I think, tomorrow. We are now focused on the safety quality parameters regarding these devices. Okay, please let me know your thoughts, your opinion, and your questions. Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So the main thing which I believe that still now here in India the vending machines are not that much like have captured the market is because of the ticket size of the products which are found in the vending machines.
You don't have vending machines here.
No, like very less compared to
Very
what
less.
we find very common in Japan. So like.
But you are talking in this particular area or in the whole country?
I'm talking about my whole nation.
Oh,
Like
in the whole
mostly
India.
I've seen them in hospitals, but mostly elite hospitals. You won't find them at the government institutes because the crowd which comes at the government level is not that much capable of buying food items from vending machines. As the ticket size, as I said earlier, the price which you get in a vending machine for any packet, for example, a packet of chips, you'll find it at a cost of 20 rupees or 20 cents.
That is what I
In the local
any other
market.
price.
In the local market, whereas you'll find it almost the price double, almost for 40 cents, like 40 rupees.
Okay.
So that is one of the reasons that I believe that they're not yet that much.
What can be the advantage you can find in selling food from these devices?
Yeah, there is one advantage which I saw here in my university. Like most of the times we do overtime for in lab experiments, mostly during nights till 8 or 9.
Yes, that is for true.
At that time we don't have.
You can put the machine everywhere you want since you have
Exactly.
electricity, and they are 24 hours available for you to get what you want from the machine.
So that is one of the positive.
That is one of the main, of course, one of the main positive aspects related to, and another.
Because I've personally found that like it's necessary here at least. Because
another thing is that you don't need to have any people there to sell the food, so you don't have to pay any salary. And for example, when you go to a canteen, when you go to a restaurant, to another food establishment, you have something, you have someone that will serve the food, that will prepare the food. The machine, no, you can have only the machine, and you don't need to pay any salary. So the human resources are fewer, of course. You have to, or the company must have to have someone to go there to make the replacement of the foods and to make the cleaning of the foods of the machine. So, but it's different from a food establishment, where a restoration establishment, that you need to have, of course, people preparing the food, serving the food, selling the items to the consumer, to the client. So these perhaps are the two main advantages of the machines. But of course, some drawbacks are related too. Sometimes when people want to make some complaint or something, it is not working. It takes much longer. Of course, you have in the machine, as we saw, the whole data, the whole details from the provider, from the owner of the machine, the contact, but you need to contact it, so you don't have, it's different when you go to a food establishment or any other establishment. And if something is not well, you can ask directly to the people out there, and most of the time solve the problem right there. And with the vending machines, this is not so easy. But of course, in some kind of environments like hospitals, like university campus, and, and sometimes where you don't have any other alternative, this can be a very interesting solution. Another problem when you have, for example, these vending machines near school environments and or near children, with some kind of products that children shouldn't consume in so large amounts. For example, pastry, sweets, soft drinks. This is more related with another topic that we'll discuss in the other session, but of course it's sometimes quite difficult to make this separation. That is another drawback, because you haven't any kind of control. When they go to a canteen in the school, the food that you provide to the children is of course more monitored, more controlled, compared if they have the money that the parents give to them, the coins, and go to the machine and to pick up whatever they want. And of course, if they see the sweets, if they see, it is more difficult to to make them to choice for other healthier food. And but that is another a topic that we'll discuss in our session. That is the nutritional profile and the quality of the foods that are in these machines. I would like to leave this topic for the discussion we will have for sure tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Regarding the safe, do you think that it's easier to control food safety here in these machines when compared with a food establishment, a canteen? It's easier or not? Not necessarily.
Like, I don't find it that much different from the canteens, because in canteens you will get hot food, basically like samosas or like the ones which are prepared in front of you, which requires frying basically. And when you talk about vending machines, so for meals ready to eat, I find it very hard that it will work out here.
Yes, the question here that most of these products that are in the machines are less handled products. So in theory, it could be easier to make some control of the safety parameters. When you have more handling and more handling stages, the probability of you get contamination on your foods is getting higher. So from that perspective, we can, generally speaking, we can say that perhaps yes, it can be easier. It can be easier to achieve these goals of food safety.
Yeah, but when we talk about the thinking or the psychology, that mostly the consumer, he wants a fresh food item rather than a packaged food item. Like,
Yes, but in some cases we have already fresh food in the machines. That will depend what foods will be contained on the machines. And of course, all of us, at least, have contact with vending machines. Food vending machines associate the presence of junk food, of snacks, salty snacks, confectionery products, soft drinks to these machines. But now things are a little bit changing, and we have seen the presence of some healthier options like fruits, vegetables, salads are also contained in the machines. But yes, firstly, it's just we are accustomed to make this connection between vending machines with junk food, with salty food, with sweet foods. That is the most knowledgeable connection we make with this.
and
But
like
that
there
is not so true in West.
one more thing is that this requires logistics, like supply chain. When we talk about vending machines, so for example, if you're installing a vending machine at a place, it requires continuous restocking.
Yes,
For
yes.
that you need
That is a responsibility, of course,
Exactly.
that the company that must assure the restocking, and not only the restocking, and the maintenance in aspects of their functionalities and their cleaning aspects, hygienic measures, all the hygienic measures must be taken to assure that the food items are sold in proper conditions. Yes, yes, of course. That is a responsibility of the company, and that can be, of course, monitored by the competent agency and regulatory agency, because regarding food legislation, they must be accomplished the same as a food establishment. Of course, we are selling food, so this is also public health concern if the foods are not in good conditions.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So, like you're saying, Japan is the world leader in vending machines.
Yes.
Yeah. In India, like we see it in metro cities like Delhi, in the airports, in the metros,
Yes.
and supermarkets. Not all super in the malls. So,
Mm.
like here, we have only packaged foods. They're all already packed.
You can find fresh foods on vending machines.
No, not. I've never seen fresh foods, but maybe in some places like in airports where there is high turnover, they put these perishable items there, like sandwiches sometimes.
Yes, because of course the management of fresh foods and ready-to-eat foods, the shelf life is different. For example, a package of snack chips or everything or pastry, it can be even a soft drink. The preoccupation regarding the shelf life is not a problem. So, and the fresh products, you must know very well the consumption that regarded with that machine, if the product will be expanded or not, if the product will be sold or not. Otherwise, we are throwing to the trash the products because we have a shelf life 3, 4, 5 days at most, and of course the companies think on getting money. And if the people also buy the non-perishable foods, even being not the healthier options or healthier choices, it's easier for the companies to manage all, and not only to have the products in the machine, the transportation. And we see that the transportation was one of the most relevant concerns and problems we found for the contamination of foods. And the contamination of foods were on sandwiches, was on those perishable foods that need some special conditions of transportation, maintenance, and then to be sold in that few days they are exposed in the machine. So if the companies have profits and people buy non-perishable foods, for sure the companies also prefer to have them because their main goal is to get profit from the products they sold. I believe that is the reason because you see in the most of cases non-perishable foods in the machines. And in my country also at the beginnings was like that first with that kind of foods, and then of course with all the claims and all the studies and the work of the public health entities, you see that the need to have other kinds of foods also in the machines, but the population, the consumers must be awareness to consume that kind of foods, because it is not only to include different options, more fresh foods, non-perishable foods in the machines. If the people, if the consumer doesn't buy it, that will not work for the company. Don't forget that is a company that the main goal is to make money to survive economically. So that is also a challenge. But of course, in the last years, at least in Europe, we are seeing that the products we see in the machines are changing, and also in non-perishable foods. For example, I see some machines with some organic products, for example, with cookies with low sugar content. So also different options within the non-perishable foods. Yes, of course, some of them the price is different. Yes, that is, but that is the same when you go into supermarket. For example, we are see, for example, a non-gluten product. The price is different for the traditional one, and some kind of machines have also this kind of products that some years ago that was impossible. So the problem is not the machine. The problem can be what we include in the machine, because of course the benefits can be distinctive. The simply fact of you can have a 24-hour device that provides you food. I think that is wonderful, with no need of any kind of human resource. If it works well, why not? Why not? The problem is we and most of the population associate these devices, these vending machines, with wrong food habits, with junk food, with that is because of what is normally included in the machines. Because if people demand other kind of products, and if people buy other kind of products from the machines, the companies, of course, will change it.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
If we change that to healthy
Yes.
food, then it will be very.
Yes, yes. The question is, we demand the changes, but then if the company make these changes, but we don't buy, of course, the company will not make more changes in that way. So we must be aware of it. We cannot not only say I don't buy anything from there because it is only junk food or it is only unhealthy food. But if the companies make some trying to change the foods that are within their machines and see that people don't consume it, they return once again to the products that they know they sell. That is, once again, the importance, of course, all of us are conscious about uh, our our eating habits, about our food choices, because it is not only to say it is very good to eat more vegetables, more fruits, but then when we are in the presence in our daily options to make, when we go to lunch, to dinner, to every meal, and at the moment we forget the things that we want and we put vegetables aside and fruits and we want another an healthier option. So what will determine what is within the machines? It is the behavior of the consumers. Not only what the consumers tell or allegate, but the way they will behave. That is the most important. Because companies and the food vending machine companies are like every companies want to give you the product you are looking for. If you are looking for a salty food product, I will give you the salty food product. If you want the sweet, I will give you the sweet. If you want fruit and vegetables, I will give you the fruit and vegetables. I want to provide the most desirable item for you. That is the point.
So one thing I learned is from your article, which was very surprising, is one machine per 31 citizens in Japan. And India, we don't even have basic facilities like ATM machines or something for more than even hundreds or thousands per machine per these many.
Yes.
So there must be something specific to Japan that it is so successful that probably if they're saying 1 per 30, it must be in every nook and corner of the country.
Yes, and of course it is also other perception and other economy. We don't forget, of course, these devices are not so cheap. So it must be cost effectively for the companies that want to invest in the buying of this, and then what they will sell. Of course, we don't need to pay a salary for a person to being preparing or serving the meals, but you have to make an initial investment in buying these devices. You will have the electricity costs to make the devices work. So all of this must be thinking, and if it will work for you, for your environment, for your place, for your perspective, all of this must be studied. And I don't know, maybe here in India, see that perhaps that it is not working so good than in the other places. It will depend, of course, the context. The context is very important for sure.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is, will there be a high wastage of food products and packaging materials while when we are using vending machine than the normal basis, than the normal restaurants or shops?
Yes, and of course, the products in the vending machines are packages, but you can have fresh products in that package. A meal that was prepared in the early morning package and sold in that day, and you go to the machine, and that is your lunch. Of course, all of this has to be properly managed and thinking for the reasons we have stated before. To don't have problems of the shelf life be surpassed, of not be contaminated, and all the aspects regarding to the transportation from the place you prepare that meal, the way you package, and the way that package needs to be from the local was produced to the machine. So, and at the end, if people will not consume, of course, companies will leave this kind of products to be included in the machine. It's much easier to introduce a package of salty snack, salt potatoes, everything you want, confectionery, a soda. It's much easier for the company. But people are demanding, of course, healthier options and other kind of products, and that can be provided in the machine. And if it works, why not?
And sir, how this waste will be treated? Like if there is a lot of waste materials produced from vending machine, how it will be treated without causing problem to the environment?
Based products for what? For the machine?
Yeah, like the waste products which is after packaging, the packaging materials which is left, and from after packaging of food products, the material which is left over, how will like they will manage this waste materials without causing problem for the environment?
That will depend on the particular use of the vending machine and how many consumers we have for that vending machines. As an example, we have some vending machines that are in the hospitals that those machines must be restocked in the same day twice. So that is not a problem for what you mentioned. Of course, in other places, we have a vending machine that very fewer consumption, and the consumers go there much rarely. So of course that can be what are you mentioned. That can be a problem. So all of this must be studied, and perhaps one type of machine and some types of foods can work very well in one environment, but not in the other. So this must be taken into consideration. Of course, we can have some kind of non-harmful packages for the environment of foods, of meals that are prepared in the same day, consumed in the same day, and expanded in vending machines. But in other cases, that will be more complicated because there are not much consumers that go to that machine, and of course that must be studied by the company to see what kind of foods, what kind of vending machine I want to put in that environment. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, what are the main food safety challenges in operating vending machine? This kind of vending machine arises.
The the most challenges are related with these ready-to-eat meals, with this prepared food, with these perishable foods, because and also the watering machines, because I don't know if you have the opportunity to see the inside of watering vending machines. They are composed by several pieces, and due to the high frequency of use of these machines, especially in some environments like hospitals, like companies that have a lot of consumers, it is very easy to get a machine and cleaning very frequently. Otherwise, you have the chocolate powder, milk powder, water. So this is the problem. And of course, a machine when you have ready-to-eat foods or fresh products, salads, vegetables, along all the food chain from the place these foods were prepared and were taken from that place, how many time we will spend on transport those products to the machine and in which conditions. Do you have any kind of refrigerated vehicle or refrigerated conditions to keep the temperature at 4 or 5 Celsius for this contamination? We find microbial contaminations in these products, of course. And in some cases, it is not easy. So, food companies, if people consume non-perishable foods and packaged foods, and we do not demand this kind of specifications for food companies, because it's easier, very easier to manage.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Inside these vending machines.
Depends the cost. Of course we can. My answer is yes, and you have the fact you can think on to better control this. But first is to provide the suppliers, to provide the companies the condition, interior temperature of the products, of the food products contained in the machine. That in good conditions is the tendency. If we are doing everything well, very important, very important.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
In the future.
Yes, that will always depends on how we use the vending machine, what we will put on the vending machine. The difference is here we don't have any kind of human resource that will give you the food, and you have 24 hours. Of course, if we promote the consumption use on the machines, only fresh products, and this machine vending companies will idealize for them. But yes, we can. It is not. It is not mandatory.
I'm talking specifically about fruit cutting vending machines.
But which
So,
aspect of food?
because I think, in my point of view, this is not a sustainable approach because the chances of microbial contamination is high, electricity consumption is high, the cleaning processes are also very costly, and vending machines is also very costly. So,
Yes,
what
but you don't pay a salary for people. When you go to a canteen, you see how many people you have there. You have to pay the salary for those people
yes, sir.
and taxes.
But I think it's not a sustainable approach in my point of view.
Economic, the costs are very higher when you need to have to pay salaries to people, money you need to spend on it, on the electricity and the initial investment in buying the device. But our industry is not the vending machines. Of course, there are some limitations of what we can have in the vending machines compared with and a lot of different kinds of food can be sold and can be sold in these devices. Of course, I can see I can see how the costs are higher in the vending compared with the traditional.
I cut a fruit. When I cut a fruit, I so it's all ripen or immature or whatever many factors. That I decide this fruit is not consumable. Then how the fruit cutting vending machines decided? They
Yes,
have a specific type of sensor.
that is of course the responsibility is the human of the people that will
But sir,
restock the vending machine that must assure that all the food products there are in good conditions. And of
sir,
course, it's
but
some kind
our
of product.
eyes have also not any kind of specific sensor that outer appearance
Yes, you
cannot be
can think on
defined.
that, and if it is cost effective, perfect. I have nothing against that. My only question is, and it is a question, it is not. I'm not
Sir,
affirming
I only
nothing.
want to know
Yes.
if there is any kind of sensor
Now,
regarding this.
from my knowledge and from what we have at least in Europe, in Portugal, no, because the cost of it it is not effective. So it will make the price regarding investigation or academic, but for the consumer will not pay that. He prefers to bring the fruit from other place or even take the car and go to other place to get the product than to pay 3, 5 or more for the product. You have to think on that. And perhaps, of course, some people prefer to consume some kind of foods not from vending because they are afraid that, of course, the fruit can be oxidized or can be so very good. So I prefer to go to the market and buy.
But sir,
Of
some
course,
fruit like pineapple is very difficult to cut. So
apples and the banana, pear, it's easier than, for example, a pineapple or a melon or only if they are cut. But of course, the price will be different. It's the same when you go to the supermarket. If you buy the pineapple, the entire pineapple, or if you have already the pineapple processed, okay, the price is different even in the supermarket. And in a vending machine, you can put the pineapple without being processed, and the price will be different.
thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insight.
Thank you very much for your question. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My question is, are there any self-cleaning options in vending machines?
That would be good, but no, no,
Not yet.
it is not yet, not yet. Perhaps with robotics, with all the technology in the near future, we can find some device or some technology that can self-clean the machine, or we press the button and it's. But at this time, no. We need to have some people, food analysts that we stock the machine and see if everything from the technical point of view are working with the machine, and to clean the machine properly. This is made by people, by humans. Yes. That would be an interesting project to find some kind of self-cleaning machine. Yes, why not? Why not?
That will decrease the contamination
Yes,
or
yes,
the degree
yes.
of it, and
Totally
people will
agree.
be more inclined towards using the machine.
Yes, yes. If we find some interesting and effective self-cleaning machine, way of machine, that would be very interesting.
Thank you, sir.
Interesting project. Nice idea.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, like I think like with the rise of vending machines, maybe some people lose the chance of employability.
Yes, that can be a problem, of course. That they will, but that is the problem not only with vending machines, that with advancements of all technologies, of robotics, everything. It is not losing the specifications of the jobs are different. It is not we are losing some kind of jobs, but winning another type of jobs. So yes, but that is true for sure. People that could work on a canteen now they are not needed if you have a machine. That is true. That is one of the drawbacks. Yes, for sure, for sure. But it is needed also personal specialized in learning about how the machine works to supply the food to the machines, make the transportation. So we need more in other place the people for working. But of course, in the canteens, perhaps not so much people needed.
Thank you, sir.
Totally agree. An important point. Any more question? Comment? No?
Something you would like to share? Anyone?
No? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for another insightful and eye-opening session. Your lecture on vending machines, food safety and quality assessment operate, and how critical hygiene, maintenance and proper training of food handlers are to ensuring the safety and quality of the food we consume. It was fascinating to learn about the role of HACCP systems, the microbiological risk involved, and how even factors like cleaning frequency and temperature control can make a significant difference in food safety. The stove truly reminded would once again like to thank Dr. Antonio Rapso for sharing his expertise with us and for giving us such valuable insights throughout today's sessions. Now it's time for a break. Please join us for lunch and take this opportunity to relax, interact, and reflect on today's discussions. Thank you. Like to invite Ms. Uma to share a brief summary of the previous session.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm Uma, and now I'm going to give a brief overview of food safety and quality assessment in vending machine, focusing particularly on the role of food handlers and the factors that influence the hygiene. Vending machines have become a major part of modern food distribution system, serving billions of euros worth of food and drinks every year. They provide quick access to the snacks, beverages, and even perishable foods like sandwiches and ready-to-eat meals. However, this convenience also comes with important food safety challenges. To ensure safety, vending machine operations are expected to follow the HACCP system, which is Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point System, which is a method that recognized worldwide for controlling the hazards in the food production. Every vending machine must provide clear information about the product, supplier, and complaint contact, and even details about how the machine functions. When vending machines are installed in public and private places, both the machine owner and the property owner share responsibility for product safety and legal compliance. A major concern in microbiological contamination. Studies have found that bacteria such as Escherichia coli and Bacillus cereus in beverage machines, particularly in the dispenser nozzles and drip trays, where moisture allows bacterial growth. Outbreaks have been listed linked to the Listeria in reheated cooked and chilled meals, and Staphylococcus testing alone are not enough. Instead, training and education of food handlers are essential to maintain the hygiene. To handle the equipment safely and apply HACCP principle effectively. Water quality used in vending machine is another factor affecting food safety. Parameters such as pH, turbidity, and residual chlorine must meet legal standards like those outlined in the Spanish Royal Decree 140/2003 to ensure water is fit for the human consumption. In conclusion, this study highlights that the hygienic conditions of vending machine is directly linked to the knowledge and practices of food handlers, improving their training and focusing on the hygiene rather than just self life extension is key preventing contamination and ensuring the safety of
Helped us connect all the important points of the previous session. Now moving ahead, we will begin our tutorial session titled Classroom Discussion Apps. So, who will guide us through an interactive discussion encouraging ideas and perspectives on how we can balance nutrition, taste, safety, and sustainability in modern food systems. Please join me in welcome once again Dr. Antonio Rapso to conduct this tutorial session. Please, sir.
Let's have some discussion on right this topic. The best ways to achieve better nutrition and better taste. How this can be aligned, better nutrition, better taste, in agreement with safety standards, of course, from the point of view of sustainability, in a sustainable world that all of us for sure desire. I have here this Western societies where you have this kind of foods identified as highly palatable, and they are mainly rich in sugar, fat, and salt, and they are often processed or ultra processed food. And of course, they intensively stimulate reward pathways and engineer to maximize taste and food and craving. So this can lead us to trigger dopamine release regarding with the pleasure response, the promoting of overeating and loss of control, the reduced sensitivity to signals, create food addiction like behaviors. So our food habits will be modulated and changed in this way, and to contribute to obesity and of course other metabolic and uncommunicable diseases. Recent studies are also relating the high consumption of these foods, of course, with alterations, modulations in our gut microbiota composition. When we have the animal concerns, when these animal foodstuffs are consumed, especially in excessive way, in the other end, we can see that when we consume more plant-based foods, less time and budget for home cooking is needed, and of course, we in the middle have to find some familiarity with these foods, and of course, kind of pleasure and hedonic, and we are not mandatory to find only pleasure and satisfactory satisfactory elements in the consumption of animal plants and in animal foodstuffs. And one of the great challenges is to balance this and to start to increase the consumption of plant-based foods, especially in Western and industrialized societies, because we can also find tastefully and pleasant meals made it with more fruits, more vegetables included on them. We have here a SWOT analysis regarding the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the food processing and its relationship with a more sustainable world. And we can find the strengths, high level of sanitary security and food availability that can be promoted by the food processing, and also diverse food offering due to the international flux is that it is possible to make one food typical from one place being available in other environments in other regions of the world. However, of course, we have also weaknesses. They are highlighted as too much ultra-processed foods associated with degraded food systems and energy-demanding processes, the development of sealed and reconditioned solutions, for example, the greenwashing, depending too much on highly standardized ingredients all the year, most of the time reactive and not proactive in the face of the challenges of current changes, and of course the legal and political measures that are not binding enough for increasing food processing sustainability. Some opportunities that we have regarding this is the evolution of the food choices and expectations by the consumers. For example, shorter list of ingredients, less processed foods, and more naturalness, all topics we have already discussed here, and relocating food transformation, revisitation of the culinary traditions, replaced by ultra addictions, replaced by ultra-processed foods, degraded human health, the increase declining market incentives, and safeguarding against undesirable effects, as well as the ensuring stable finance. This so from basic research, then animal testing, and of course our goal is to pass it to human interventions and cycle assessment and business potential analysis. This is forever of relevant interest for the food company, sustainable and functional ingredients and foods. The assessment and improvement, of course, of the new products and new food. You are very anxious for the assessment. We will have in a few moments, but first, your thoughts. Who wants to be the first? For you can be for me, but generally speaking, for me, but generally speaking, and what we find in the food habits and in the literature.
So I'm talking about that waste. I'm talking about that waste which occurs.
You have to plan.
Which occurs.
You have to plan.
During the.
First of all, you have to plan if you have a food product that is not more safe for being consumed, you are wasting it. So I think the best relation we can find in food waste, food safety is regarding to that. If we plan the proper utilization, and we have already talked about this, for example, in the meals. to make the correct plan of our meals regarding the portions, regarding the which amount we will consume in which meal. So we are contributing to reduce the food waste. If you don't meddle with it, of course, perhaps you will have some leftovers, and then you have to think what to do with that waste, with that leftovers, and if nothing occurs, it goes to the trash.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
In agreement with safety standards. So I would like to share a few things.
Nutrients to enable more potential regarding the bioactivities and of course the metabolic effect that which those foods we are consuming will have in our organism. So that strategies are very.
So I think use of probiotics in the food and
Sorry. The use of fermented foods, the probiotics are very important to be present in a daily diet of people. Very clear in the literature that you can find. Sometimes it is a problem to make them acceptable for the people. That is one of the problems. And once again, sometimes the price can be also a problem for the people to buy it. At least from my perspective and in my place. Other thing is, for example, you can make home fermented products, and of course you will not spend so much money on that. Operations at to this kind of products. If your family environment, you have someone that can be responsible to make some, and there's the knowledge and there's the tools to produce this fermented products. So it's different. You are more keen to use them in your daily diet. Other thing is if you live in a city, in a big city, and if you have no time, not you, not your husband, not your wife to make this, everyone, and the only way and possibility you have to consume and to include these products in your diet is buying them in a store, in a supermarket, and the price is quite different from the others. So but the advantages of the more stimulate the people to consume this kind of rice more than evident, more than evident. And even in the supermarket, you see more options today than few years ago. I can speak about, for example, even 5 years. We haven't so much options as we have today. But of course, the price is different. When, at least for me, when I go to the supermarket, I say fermented milks, kind of fermented milks, or with addition of probiotics. All of these have different prices when you have in the other side the conventional ones. So it is not so easy. It depends. It depends on the context.
so regarding the nutrition, as we know, we should consume healthy diet, but we are addicted to more to junk foods. Then taste is important for us. Like we will be thinking in a situation that those green leafy vegetables are not that tasty, so we'll be consuming
Yes,
junk
yes.
foods.
That was
Then
I was saying to your colleague. This when we talk about highly palatable foods. This is quite subjective because talking this, having this slide for you, you can think, but I don't. I'm not used. I don't consume that food. I haven't. Perhaps I don't have such availability or access to this food. And for me, palatable food are plant-based foods are vegetables. So it is quite strange to talk about these meat products, these sour drinks, because you are not, and for good, you are not accustomed to these foods. But it's not only here when we talk about this. It is not only the question of being animal or not. Here it is more related with they are more processed or less processed. And even in plant-based foods, we have processed plant-based food products. And some problems and health problems related with overconsumption of that kind of products. So here we we are talking about those junk foods and the more related with the fast food chains. It is not the question of being meat or being or being vegetables. Of course, this must be also very clear.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
So even now in India, we also get these fish and meat process. I don't know if I should use the word process. That kind of processed
Processed fish.
fish,
Fish.
fish.
Processed fish.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the problem is not the fish. The problem in that case is the process. You have also in our country, for example, smoked fish and processed fish. Of course, the benefits you have with the consumption of processed fish are quite different if you consume the fresh fish. Yes, and we must have into consideration what kind of process that fish passed, what kind of additives you add to the fish, and of course, perhaps that is not so good for health. But we have to see which kind of process we are talking about, because here we have also potatoes in this food, but fried potatoes, and the quality of the oil that used for fry these potatoes, and then the quantity, the amount of salt that is added to the potatoes, and then the sauce you will eat joint with the potatoes, kind of mayonnaise, ketchup, everything, and the composition of that sauces. All of this has to be taken into consideration, because you can prepare a homemade tomato sauce and you can buy a ketchup sauce industrialized from a store, and the composition it's quite different. It's quite different. But for good, here you don't have a lot of at least here you don't have this habits of consumption of fast food. I don't know how it is in your big cities, if you have a lot of fast food establishments or fast food chains, but in Western societies we have a lot, and students, young people, not only young, but every people are accustomed to go there. Even the children in the school ask for the parents to go there to celebrate the party with the friends in these places. So it is very common in our societies. For you, and specifically, I believe from here in near the neighborhoods of this university, you don't have. You are accustomed to a very different pattern of culture and society and of food habits. And of course, for you, I believe you see stranger and I present something like this and put out palatable foods, and I include an image. Not this, the other. I include an image of beef, of chicken, of hot dog, or soda. It's perhaps strange foods, strange foods for you, and that's for good. That is not a drawback. But this is not what occurs in the lot of places in the world.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Like when we're talking about how to get better nutrition individually, I believe one should just analyze what he or she is consuming. Given that the food which he or she is consuming individually, like
Yes.
how processed it is, or just to take a break and just think that the food items which are present in that food, whether they are highly adulterated, or to give a thought that the raw material which is being used to prepare that food, given that when you are trying to uh, consume food from takeaways basically, or from restaurants, so that matters. Or I believe that to go raw and to consider cooking foods at your home is far more better.
Yes, it can be, but of course we cannot always say that the foods that we prepare home are better and the foods from the restaurants are worse. That is also a very subjective analysis because it depends what you prepare at home and what you will eat on the restaurant. Yes, that's a good point. What is important here is also we are discussing a lot of nutrition, and that's a good point. But we also take into consideration this second variable, that is the taste, and taste is so or even more important than nutrition, because if you don't like, you will not eat that food. And people at home prepares what they like, and of course, if they don't like a food item, from the point of view of sensory properties, I believe that you will not buy it, you will not prepare it, you will not eat it. So, and then, of course, the knowledgeable, what people know about what is healthy or not, what is the adequate portion for a meal, or what is an inadequate portion. So, all of this, so that is why very important the food and nutrition literacy of the populations, to know what is proper to buy in the markets and to prepare and to cook at home. Of course, at home, it is supposed you to know very well the source where those items, those food items, will come from. You know very well how they were prepared. You know very well the harvesting and the preparing conditions, hygiene conditions where they were stored, harvested, and prepared. And when you go out to have dinner or to have lunch, you are facing only the dish, and you have to trust on the establishment that prepared your food, that have good quality products, free from pesticides, everything, and then the cooker in the kitchen, the proper hygiene practices. But you have to trust. You face only the final product. So of course, if you make everything correct and adequate, and to prepare it at home, in theory, of course, it is more probable to have an healthier meal than when you go out.
Yes, but like when we talk about India, like basically, if, for example, we talk about bread, the chapatis we get here. So compared to what we make in home, the quality of wheat which will we buy for ourselves is,
Yes.
it will be far more like better compared to the ones which you get here in restaurants, and I believe everyone here will agree, because like that there's a difference here. Like when we talk about
Yes,
restaurants,
yes, but there is no restaurants that can prepare the chapatis in a similar way you prepare at home. There are no restaurants that can prepare
like
those chapatis in that
there's a difference.
more traditional way.
Like you'll find refined wheat in addition to the normal wheat flour.
Yes, but in the restaurants they don't do that. That's my question. I don't know.
No, like in restaurants you'll find refined flour.
Yes.
Compared to in households,
Yes.
you'll get
In all the restaurants. In all the restaurants.
mostly in all the restaurants. Like almost you can call that above
Yes,
95%.
because of course the cost effectiveness of
Exactly,
that
exactly.
is better for
Cost,
them.
cost effective.
Yes, yes, yes. Of course, if you want some different way of preparation, perhaps or for sure, you have to pay much more. Perhaps there are fewer restaurants with that kind of production, but of course the price is higher. And if you have the possibility to make that kind of production in your home, it's better. Yes, for sure. That's why you are saying that it is preferable to consume homemade products when compared with those ones that are offered in the food establishments. Yes, yes, yes. In
And
that way, I totally
when
agree.
talking about taste, like
The waste.
taste,
Yes.
taste. So what I've observed, like the more hybrid varieties of vegetables or fruits you'll consume, the taste vanishes compared to the ones which you get in the what you call it, wild varieties. So
Of course, yes, and the taste it is always very particular because it will always varies from people to people. When we are talking about nutrition needs, nutrition requirements, we have the guidelines. We have that we must meet or not. Of course, if you have some specific disease, you have to control it. But then the taste will vary a lot. But I think it is very tasteful. It is very good. It is very pleasant. But for you, it can be the opposite. So this will depend a lot from people to people. What I'm looking for in a product, in a food product, can be very different from the taste perspective of you. What I think very tasteful, I really appreciate this chicken, this meat, this chicken, and you are vegetarian. You appreciate a lot of vegetables. I have very colleagues of mine. They don't eat vegetables. They don't like, simply don't like. They don't eat. Everything is green outside the plate, and not one, not two. Very people there have these costumes, and it's difficult to manage, of course, to find strategies and to find some diet adequate by accomplishing what is required, and of course respecting the food preferences, the culture, everything. And it's very, imagine your daily life without vegetables, and there are other people that can't use it. Are in the right in the opposite. Someone only eat vegetables and fruit products, and we have other people that simply don't consume them. So this is very particular, but important, very particular, but of course very important, because nutrition comes next. People will not eat something that are not used to, are not familiar, and simply don't like, and very difficult to change the mind, the perception, because is what I say. Everybody knows that shouldn't consume so much fat, so much sugar, so much salt. But why they still consuming? I think everybody knows it is not needed to make an undergraduate course, a master, even a PhD to understand we should not consume so much sweet. But why? We have a lot of problems in a lot of places, a lot of societies, and modern, industrialized, with growing diseases related with this. Obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases are the main causes of death worldwide. And people knows that should reduce the consumption of these foods and should increase the consumption of other foods like the plant-based ones. But why they don't make this change? That is the difficult. The answer and how to make they in their lives make this change. That is the difficult, because change habits, change minds. It is not from one day to another. It is very difficult. It is like I arrive here and I say you must stop eating vegetables and you must start to eating meat.
No, it won't work. Like,
so it is like the summer when arriving near some people that don't like vegetables and they are not accustomed to eat. Don't use spices and say substitute the salt for spices and eliminate the meat and start consuming vegetables and fruits.
they won't.
That is a long way. Of course they won't. That is a long way. Long way, long way, long way.
And like when we are talking about nutrition, like basically I think in current scenario, the ones who get affected by some sort of diseases, then they think that we should eat nutritious food. They don't consider consuming a good quality food product when they are in a healthy situation.
Yes, yes. Sometimes it is because they went to a doctor or because they have a disease and are kind of obligated to change it or to remove it to their diet. Yes, but we should do that as a prevention, and not only people shouldn't take care only regarding their food choices or nutrition when they have some problem, because on that point it will not be so effectively so.
But like, and when we talk about taste, so it's like the one who wants to try new things, or basically the one who is interested in uh, uh, to develop a new taste or to try a new food with a different taste. So that
we can talk about both, and we can talk about the simply consider a food more tasteful than the other. So taste is related with this. Even if we are in the presence of more neophilic or less neophilic population, to try new things that are open to try new foods. It is important.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, to get a better nutrition, taste, and also keeping in the concern of safety thing. So, rather than going for an traditional method practices, can't we switch into an modern technological lab-based foods? So we can all three in one: nutrition, safety, and also the taste.
Yes, if we develop further researches, because we are not at that point, especially on mass large production, in some years we can I can give a more adequate answer on that. But that is a way, of course, and why not? Why not? I don't question. Of course, some of people will associate lab and food, and this is not work. But why not? Why not? We have to make the studies, all the essays. Of course, it is a very, very long way regarding approval. Regulatory issues will come. So, but why not? I don't say no. I don't say no. I don't say no. But,
Yesterday we were talking about lab-based meat production, plant-based
yes,
meat,
cultivated.
Yeah.
Why not? We have a lot of people with anger in this world. Seeing the world, the planet, in a global perspective. For example, I can say from my perspective, my own perspective in Portugal, I don't need it. I don't care about why I will take one cultivated meat or plant-based or even GMO. We don't want it. We don't need it. But in other parts of the world, people are dying because they have nothing to eat. So looking the world, and if we analyze the number of people that are suffering from stunts from anger, are more than those ones that are suffering from obesity, diabetes, and diseases related with overconsumption. So in number of persons, individuals, we have more people dying and dying, not having problem dying today, because they don't have access to food. They don't have food simply. Not junk food, not seeds, not vegetables, not meat, no. And water also, and potable water. This is when we talk about nutritional needs and requirements. You should think that perhaps the greater population in this world is suffering because they haven't resources. And even now, when we are facing the conflicts we have already discussed here in Israel and Gaza, in Ukraine and Russia, so this affects a lot, people, millions, not thousands, but millions of people. That what is food security for them? What is food safety? What is food for them? It is not a question of with what we are discussing here. It is a question of they don't have access. They don't have food, simple like that. Not meat, not vegetable, not spicy, not salt, nothing. And in this changing world, we must be prepared. And unfortunately, for this work and conflicts that we face, this affects very much the whole food systems. All of we are talking here, food security aspects, food access. This affects, and we should, if we think this in a global, with a global vision, we see that we face very, very huge challenges, and the biggest ones are not related to prevent or to treat obesity and diabetes. Those are important, of course they are. I'm not mitigating them that, but we have a lot of people that simply don't eat, don't have food.
Yes, sir, because the as the day is changing on, the our quality of life is getting reduced. So people think like the quality, okay, my quality of life is reducing. So why should I keep on thinking about future sustainability? Let me be however I am, how much ever I do live, like that.
Yes, but quality of life, we have very perspectives of quality of life, and what is quality of life? Of course, we can define it as longer as when people is healthy and without being dependent on others to making his life. But when we talk with one specific person, a specific individual, for him, quality of life is not eating vegetables. He's going to a fast food chain every day. So when we speak about quality, not only quality of life, but food quality or quality, this is also very subjective. What is quality for you? For example, I give this example to my students. What is a car that is quality for you? A car with good quality. Give me an example of a brand of a car that is quality for you. I can say that will consume fewer, that I will not expend too much, and that takes me from point A to point B. And perhaps we have another person that says, I want a car that is faster than the other ones. I don't care about if it consumes more or less. I don't care about the price. And other people, I want a luxury car with comfort seats, everything. So this is very variable. And regarding food is the same. What is food quality product for you? It is not only the composition, it is not only the nutritional composition of that food. And in that food quality, the sensory, the organoleptic characteristics of the product are included. And when you include those characteristics, this will vary a lot from you, from me, from everyone in this room. So one thing is certain: when we talk about food quality, the food safety must be present. We can talk about a product of high quality if it is not safe. That is, it must be safe in AUKUS that doesn't place any harm for those ones we consume. But then the quality will have a greater variance, and it will depends from people to people.
Yes, sir. Like because we everyone know that we should not consume sugar in excess because it is an slow poison. But we'll say, okay, I'm healthy now. I can eat sweets. What about? I don't know what tomorrow happens. If I will be a diabetic tomorrow, I can't. So until I become a diabetic, let me consume
Yes.
it.
And those internal regulations that I have already talked this morning regarding eating competence, everybody knows that should eat or restrict the consumption of sugars, of high fat products, of salty products. Here you don't have salty, but why people simply don't do this? And why do they still do the same thing? I know that I shouldn't eat too much sweets, but I keep eating and even more.
If someone says, we'll say that I don't know about tomorrow. So let me consume it today.
Yes, then we find some strategies to not be so bad in our feelings. To I eat this, but tomorrow I will run 30 minutes, so that's not a problem. And tomorrow I don't know how I will be, so I do it today. But of course, when you do it one time, two times not a problem. But when you do it frequently, of course, this will reflect in your health, and the numbers are visible to everyone. It is just a question of searching and see the data from the World Health Organization and several papers that are published. The numbers of diabetes, obesity, the cardiovascular diseases, hypertension are increasing.
Maybe this is the reason why people don't much think about sustainability.
Yes, and the problem, at least from one perspective, is that these diseases will not kill you from one day to another. It's different from the other ones that suffer from stunt or have no food. If you have no food, you will not survive for too long. But if you have diabetes, obesity, hypertension, these problems, these health issues are not acute. You will not die from one day to another. You will still here and spending money from the states, from medicines, from treatments, everything. Your quality of life will be reduced year by year, but you will not die in one day, 2 days, 1 week. Maybe you can be here and from another perspective, fortunately, for 10, 12, 50, 20 years, but with these health issues. And the quality of life is quite different if you wouldn't have them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Sir, in order to achieve better nutrition along with safety standards, we can also include the better packaging technologies like use of biodegradable materials and also use of edible packaging, which will also reduce the plastic waste and
Yes,
also
and some
the
of them also extend the shelf life of some products. Yes.
also modified atmosphere
Yes, for
packaging.
sure, for sure. And a lot of research have been made on this with that objective. Yes, biodegradable packaging, the adding of some peels of some foodstuffs to package others. And yes, that is a very interesting research topic that has been developed in the last few years. And I think that it fits perfectly here in what we are talking about sustainability. Of course, food safety. We must to analyze and see the specifications of each kind of material or foodstuff we are employing and to package what. But after we study, yes, for sure, and there are very interesting alternatives to also to the plastics, and that can be more sustainable. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for your
Thank you, sir.
ear in front.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Yes, please.
So, for increasing the consumption of vegetables and fruits, we can improvise the method of cooking. Like for vegetables, instead of frying, like for potato chips, we can air fry them. And for fruits, we can make custard or jellies, like homemade jellies for them. So
Yes,
maybe
you are very
people.
right, and you to the point very important. At least from my point of view, they're frying. I don't know how is the use of air frying methods here in India, but in Portugal, a lot of people are starting to make, for example, the potatoes that we like very much to eat fried potatoes, French fries. But of course, as you know, high content of fat and the quality of the oil that we produce the fries sometimes is not so good, and people are starting to cook these potatoes in air frying, and not only the potatoes. I give the example of potatoes, but also to cooking some other vegetables and also meat that years before time before we did it in oil, start frying, or for example, and now we are finding some other and using of the novelties of the processing technologies to get some healthier choices. Yes, 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 and that is very important. Not only the change of the food stuff, but also the change of how we process, how we prepare that foods. Yes, yes. And air frying, it is very, very well established, very well established because we enjoy the fried foods, fried chicken, fried potatoes, even fried vegetables. And if we find another way to make something similar from the point of texture and flavor, why not? And people are enjoying it. Yes, a very well established market of air frying.
Also, sir, I would like to share, like, I'm staying away from my home, so I miss the home cooked food prepared by mom. And here I like eat a lot of processed food, noodles, Maggie, etc. But at home, I enjoy only the home cooked food.
Yes, and of course, sometimes people when change from what they are accustomed, they find for sure some things that will find tasteful and oh, this is very nice, this is new, I never tried, but also things that will be very different from they are accustomed and they will not like too much. That is normal. That is normal, and of course, when you are accustomed to good tasteful food and high nutritious food, it is can be strange when you have a very huge difference in a few days.
Also, so like people say you should have balanced diet, but sometimes the food we get in the mess, it is not good in taste, or we didn't like the taste. Then it is like we can't sleep hungry, so we have to eat the processed food only in order to
Yes,
strive for the hunger.
the question of taste is also it's also questionable. Yes, yes, yes. Right. What is tasteful for you? That is a good
So,
question.
like,
If I ask, like the food versions that we every one of you answered, if I ask to each one of you what is a tasteful food for you, and perhaps for sure most of you will tell me one kind of fruit or vegetable.
like,
But if we go to other place, to other targeted population, the answers would be very, very different. This will vary, of course, of the food pattern and the personality also, and what you consider tasteful or not. Yes,
like
please.
my activity was something regarding that, that I want each one of you to at least say one food ingredient which you find that you can go to at any end.
What is your preferable food? Yes, yes,
Preferable,
yes.
no, food ingredient in terms of taste that you want it in your
Yes,
food
food
item.
ingredient, not a recipe, okay?
Not a
Not
recipe.
a recipe. For
Not the
example,
recipe.
pineapple. For
Exactly.
example, pepper. For yes, yes,
For
onion,
example,
garlic. Yes, yes,
for
yes.
example,
You
coriander leaves, cilantro basically.
coriander.
I could go to any end to have it in the best condition, or I get wild varieties of cilantros in my hometown. So I consider using it in every food dish.
And we can see it is interesting that some, for example, of your favorite food can be one type of food that one of your mates told in the other session it was one of the foods that they have aversion.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Tomato. If one of us will say tomato, if I remember well,
Yes,
you,
exactly.
you don't tolerate tomato.
Tomatoes, I
And
don't add it in
coriander,
my
I remember that one of you answered that was one of the
coriander seeds.
yes, coriander seeds, different from the leaves. But it is also interesting to find that. So yes, please, if you
Yes,
want
so
to start
to start
from the beginning, perhaps, and see your favorite ingredients.
it should be an ingredient, not a whole
Yes,
food
yes,
item.
ingredients, food items.
I'm not a foodie. I can eat anything.
Sorry, sorry.
So I'm not a foodie. I can eat anything to survive. So yeah.
Oh, no,
So,
you have not
nothing special.
pleasure, enjoy. Interesting. Yes, it is an opinion. Yes.
I need cumin powder in everything. Cumin.
Cumin.
Yes.
That is a spice, I believe.
Yes, yes, it is.
For me, it would be cilantro.
Yes.
Yeah, cilantro. Like in everything, in
In everything.
rice, in pulses, in vegetable, everything. Cilantro is a must.
Cilantro. Very
Turmeric.
consumed in that is very consumed in Portugal too. Yes, yes, yes. In our cuisine, the cilantro is very consumed.
Turmeric.
Turmeric.
Cardamom. Elaichi.
Sorry, sorry.
Cardamom.
Garlic.
Elaichi.
Cardamom.
So I like some spicy, like whatever.
Spicy. Yes. Okay.
Essa foedita.
Some.
Essa foedita.
Essa foi, yes. See?
I love potato in everything.
Potato.
I like garam masala.
Garam masala, yes. It's a mix of spices, I believe. A mix of you don't have one only perfect spicy. Everyone here likes spicy food, I believe.
I love black pepper in everything.
Black pepper.
Black pepper.
In Portugal, we also use black pepper, but in small amount.
So I like tamarind.
Tamarind.
Yeah. So I have a question. Uh, we are told that Vasco da Gama came to India from Spain or Portugal to get spices, but you say that your country doesn't take spicy much. So
No, we don't use too much spice. We have, of course, when you go to the supermarket, we have, and I've already been in supermarket here, and we have most of the spices I find here, I can find there with more or less difficulty. But the question is the use of those spices in the food, and use in very small amounts, and not every day, not for every dish. So it is the way of we use them in the cuisine, very in different way of you. I can see you even include spices in the tea, in the desserts, in the everything, in the rice. And in Portugal, only in some specific dishes, meals we prepare, and in small amounts, because otherwise people can't eat, can't tolerate. Some herbs, for example, cilantro is very used, and garlic, onion, yes, we use them, but the spices and powder spices, it is not. We have it. We have it. It is not something that we don't know even that they don't exist. But the utilization of that spices of that products in the cuisine is quite different from the utilization you give. Yes, yes, for sure.
Sir, I like to have green chili.
Green chili.
Yes, sir.
I like also spicy food.
Spicy, not one particular, just spicy.
Sir, I like cumin seed.
Turming? Sorry, I didn't understand.
Cumin seed.
Turming seed. That is a seed that you add to the meal. Yeah.
Sir, I like cardamom.
Cardamom. Yeah. Me too. Very interesting the taste, but in small quantities.
Sir, I would like to add any spices to the food. Like I'm from the place which is known as the spice capital of India, that is Kerala. So I would like to add. We are more towards the spices. So I will add any spice to my food. Like even when I'm making Maggie, I will add pepper to it.
Yes.
Then
Your own mix
chili
to
powder.
different
Yeah.
spices, and you like always to have your food very hot, very spicy.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Same sir, like mostly pepper because it is called as like black gold of Kerala.
Okay.
So everything, whatever we cook without pepper, we don't. In every, let it be veg or let it be
It
non-veg.
was almost like the salt for us.
Yes, let it be veg or let it be non-veg. Without pepper, we don't consume.
Will not work.
Yeah.
Green coriander and black pepper.
Nice.
I like green chili and black pepper.
Like pepper and green chili.
To my food, I would like to add ginger garlic paste and the grounded spices that it enhances the taste and aroma of the food.
Yes, because even when you ground the spices, the taste is enhanced.
Yes.
A mix of ginger and garlic, and then you add also some grounded spices. Yes,
So I like spicy food.
spices, every spice. You don't have a particular spicy. I think that most of you answer spices, but you don't have a particular spicy. You don't differ from one to other.
So actually, we use mixture of
Yes,
spices.
use masala, a mixture of spices. So you can differentiate the taste from one particular seed or one particular spicy from the other. You should taste them separately. It should be interesting, perhaps.
Sir, actually, we use the mixture of spices,
Yes.
then grind it, and it in India we call it garam masala.
Garam masala.
Yes.
And when we talk only masala, because for example, there in Portugal in restaurants we have masala, only masala. So there is any difference between?
Like no, yes, we add like clove, black pepper, black cardamom, green cardamom. We all mix it, cumin seed. We all mix it and make a fine powder.
Okay.
And we use a pinch of it in our gravies or anything else we cook. So it enhances the taste of that food and aroma also.
Okay.
So that we can feel it like we are eating something good.
Okay.
Spicy
So
food.
that's why you say spicy in general, not
Yes.
one particular. I understand.
Basically, it enhances the taste if we are making it normally without using the spices.
Okay.
And if we are adding the spices, the taste is enhanced, the flavor is enhanced. So
Yes.
we uses it that way.
I see.
So green coriander.
Green coriander, yes. Okay.
So same spicy
The
food.
same.
So I like all the spices.
Yeah. And right back.
So ginger paste and dalchini.
Okay.
Dairy products.
Sorry?
Dairy products. Ghee.
Maggi masala.
Maggi masala. I suppose another kind of mix of spices, grind spices. Hmm. I think until now no one says any fruit, only the spices and
In general, I love any kind of sweet dishes.
any kind of sweet, not the one particular.
No, matlab, I just love
The sweet taste.
yes. Also the vanilla essence or cardamom. The taste.
Sir, I'm a meat eater, so I like the taste of garlic in it.
Garlic.
To me, it would be ginger that I would love to add to any dish or any beverage.
Ginger. Okay.
It's the same ginger garlic paste and coriander leaves.
Nice, nice.
So I like cinnamon in my dish.
Cinnamon.
So I prefer onion.
Onion.
I like everything depend on situation, sir.
Everything. I wouldn't say that. I don't believe you like everything. I can prove you are not correct. Can make an experience with. I take you to Portugal and then let's see if it depends on the situation. But that it's good to be open and to see that you are very, very neophilic and very, very open to eat everything. And you have pleasure in eating everything, yes.
Red chili powder and salt, sir.
Chili powder and salt.
Yes, sir, salt.
Salt. I think everyone.
I think cameraman, sir. वो भैया भी नहीं बोला.
My, since it is not spicy, I can say I like everything. But I enjoy very much. I enjoy very much lobster, for example, and prawns. I like very much food from the sea. So I believe very quite different from your.
वो हटो cameraman.
Oh, to the camera. And Dr. Tejpal also it is not in participate. What is your preferred food item?
Actually, it's very difficult. So
Only to say one.
yeah, because ultimately depends every ingredient we cannot eat every time. So in my opinion, it should be balanced. And I'm not very specific to any particular ingredient in food. So obviously variation is required sometimes.
Yes.
So I'm neutral in this case.
Neutral. That is important to have, of course, also this opinion of open to eat everything. Of course, there are some things that we don't appreciate too much compared to others for cultural reasons, for taste reasons, for what else. But of course, I believe that all of us have something that you have even a little kind of aversion, and others, of course, they prefer, and that it can be that can be simple for the way they are cooked. If it is one person or one individual to prepare the meal is one thing, and the same meal, the same ingredients, everything same. But if it is prepared by another one, by another individual, the taste will be quite different. So that's true. That's true. Thank you very much. One more question? No? Are you ready for the examination? Yes.
Sir, we have one more activity. Like it's based on what type of cooking method uh, nowadays we are using in our household stuff that helps in reducing nutritional loss and
Yes.
enhances the taste as well, keeping in mind the safety standards as well. So
Yes.
I would like to start from Akhilesh. Activity.
Let's see if everybody.
बेसिकली एक्टिविटी हमारी ये है कि हमें कोई एक ऐसा कुकिंग मेथड या एक ऐसी हैबिट हमें बतानी है जिससे हम जो हम ट्रेडिशनली यूज करते थे न्यूट्रिशन को एनहांस कर रहे हैं वेट 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 लिसन टेस्ट को एनहांस कर रहे हैं उसके न्यूट्रिशनल पॉइंट्स को एनहांस कर रहे हैं या फिर उसके लॉसेस को प्रिवेंट कर रहे हैं कीपिंग इन माइंड द सेफ्टी एज वेल
Who wants to share?
सॉरी क्या कह रहे हैं यो
Fermentation or germination?
फिर ये क्या था कहाँ से शुरू करें योगित सबको सोचने के लिए टाइम चाहिए
So, like, there is this method where while cooking some sort of what do you call it, a dish, to cook the veggies or the vegetables, we call it the sabzi basically, and we try rather than adding water to that in the pan, we keep it above the lid, the water, and as the water boils, with the help of the steam, the food gets cooked inside. So like this helps to get a different taste compared to the where to the food which in which the water is directly added
Yes.
to boil them or to cook them. So this is one of this method. So like just to
Anyone wants to share? I think we have already talked here about, for example, when you are preparing. I don't know if here you have the habits of consuming soup, but for example, when you boil the vegetables for eating with in your plate in your main course, you can then use the water that you use to boil the vegetables to prepare a soup, for example, and not throwing the water to the sink, to the trash. So that is one of also that most people should do and we
In
tell.
south we have a dish, it's called vellappam. Actually, like it's a, if you show it in north or other states they might think it is a dosa type, but it's not actually. Like we have grind rice and boiled rice, one raw rice, like a little bit of raw rice, then little bit of boiled rice, then few pulses, then coconut. This four thing we grind it. Then overnight it is kept for fermentation and next day we cook it like as a like dosa type. So it's a combination of I think carbs, protein and also fat and also nutrients from the coconut also. So I think it's a best combination. Yeah, from fermentation we get the beneficial microbes also. So I think it's a good combo. Huh?
Yes, yes.
Like in taste also, it's not like a sweet or something. It quite like a starch type itself. So we can have it with any other gravy type or chutney, anything like that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, that's an interesting. Anyone
So,
else?
but in north, if we show that, they might think it's a dosa, which is only of grinding of rice. But it's not. Like it's a combination of this
all
rice.
that four steps.
Yeah. Like because when dosa is prepared, it's like thin all over. But this vellappam, it's like we cook it in yeah. In between, it's like a fluffy, and in yes, in side, it's very thin. So it's thick and thin combination.
Okay. The texture, yes.
Yeah, yeah. It feels like spongy with many spores and all. Huh? Yeah.
I see, I see. Anyone else wants to share some interesting method to preserve or to enhance the quality of one specific food?
Uh, in North, we usually make a dish that is known as halim.
Alim.
Yes. We we soak the rice and
Soak the rice, yes.
rice, wheat in little amount, but the pulses, all the mixed pulses, they are in major amount. We soak them overnight and then pressure cook them so that they are mashed properly. And then we add non-veg also in that. So it is a good combination which provides meat, that protein as well as carbohydrate. So we can consume that.
The problem I see in those methods you are mentioning it is the conditions you need to have. So the whole night for fermentation, the whole night for that, it is time consuming. So you once again you have to have this specific conditions and time for doing that. Because, for example, if I want to make some people try to use those kind of preparations, they say I don't have time simply. I don't have the conditions.
We mix all of them. We don't need to cook them separately like rice and wheat and all the pulses separately. We usually mix it and then
only to wait one night until
no, not
not
usually one night. We can soak them for 3 to 4 hours only.
okay.
Not
more
proper
reasonable.
fermentation.
Okay.
Like we have to just make them soft so
Okay.
that we can that it can take less time to cook.
Yes,
We can
that's
cook
nice.
them directly also, but to
No proper,
decrease
yes,
the
yeah, of course.
time of cooking, we usually soak them
Okay.
so that it can take less time to cook. And then we cook them as a whole, all the ingredients as one, and we fry them and add the non-veg and then we eat. We can eat separately also, and we can eat in combination of
I see.
biryani also.
I see. Thank you for clarification. No one else?
Sir, in Haryana and some parts of Rajasthan, we prepare bakli. It's a local dish. Basically, in what we did is 50% of wheat and black gram is taken. It's soaked for 4 to 5 hours. Then it's steam cooked. After staining the extra water, then adding salt, bit of salt and ghee is added, and after that it is consumed. So in this method, we are reducing anti-nutrients and making the food soft and enhancing the bioavailability of the nutrients. And by adding ghee, we are making a combination of carbohydrate, protein, and fat. So it's a like healthy and good combination from the traditional methods.
Yes, yes. We can learn a lot from also from the tradition and the ways of our previous generations use the foods, use the cuisine, and we can adapt for sure some of those techniques, some of those processes for nowadays, and in some ways they can be very valuable, and those knowledge is very useful in some of our lives. Yes. Yes, and also when regarded to potentiate or to enhance the food properties, and not only taste but also regarding to enhance the utilization of the components we have in foods. I think that's a good example. Yes, yes.
Another thing is pearl millet porridge.
Um,
Pearl millet porridge.
Okay.
So what in this we do is we take the pearl millet, soak it for 2 to 3 hours, then make like grind it, not so fine, then cook it like steam cooking we do. Then add some ghee and some sweet like jaggery or something like that. Then it is then we eat it. So pearl millet is also the same combination, so carb, fiber, micronutrients,
and
and
with the jar,
fat.
it will be a kind of sweet also.
Yes. So jaggery is also the good source of iron as well. So it's the good combination of macro and macronutrients.
Interesting. Yes.
Another dish is rabdi.
that is traditional food. I guess we have discussed in previous sessions as well about this. Using the barley,
Barley.
yes, barley, then soak it. After that, grind it and take the like black gram powder, mixing it with the in some quantities like 75% is barley, 25% is black gram powder. Then mix it with the buttermilk, then cook it, then keep it with overnight. Then it is consumed with milk by mixing it with milk, and in the morning it is mixed with the buttermilk. So in both the ways it is consumed. It's a good combination of probiotics and
Probiotics and
prebiotics.
I see.
That's it.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing.
Another cooking methods, there are many cooking methods that are being used in traditionally. Like before cooking rice and like pulses, we soak them for 4 or 6 hours, so that anti-nutrients will be reduced, and while cooking we need not to consume more fuel to cook it. So it's easy to cook as well. In this way we are reducing the fuel like energy to cook it, and taste is also enhanced, and anti-nutrients are also reduced.
Reduced, yes, yes.
One another method is like Yogit mentioned, instead of adding water from the outside, we used to cook steam cook the food by using outer source of the water and using the condensation process to cook that
Yes,
meal.
with less water as possible. Yeah.
Yes. So in this way, the nutrients as well as the taste.
Yes, yeah, that was I'm talking. Not only the nutrients, but you will feel the difference in the taste.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Another thing is kanji or some pickles we are making that are also fermented. Traditionally, we are using loads of spices to make it, and fermenting them.
It's fermenting along with the spices.
Yes, yes.
So in northern part of India, we make khichdi with rice and pulses and vegetable in small amount of spices and ghee. It is a good combination of carbohydrate, protein, fat, and fiber, and it is easy to digest.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for sharing. Then we should have a third activity that would be the taste of all that dishes you are you are mentioning.
Sir, we would also like to know like what type of practices you are using in your country that are sustainable and also enhances the taste, and at the same time they are preserving the nutrients as well.
Yes, the most common we say to the people is that I have already told. To, for example, we have a lot of consumption the vegetables. We simply boiling in water the vegetables and then eating along with the meat or the fish. But most of the people, the water that was used to boil those vegetables, they throw it to the trash, to the sink. So we want that people utilize that water, because it's not only water. In that water, you have other soluble vitamins, micronutrients that it can be used for making a sauce, for making a soup, making any kind of utilization. And also the steam boiling, it is also very, very, very recommended. Of course, it will take more time than the conventional boiling in water, but when people try and taste not only the nutritional properties, that some of the nutrients will be contained in the food and will not disperse in in the water, the taste will be very different. And the only problem, it takes a little bit longer than the conventional boiling. But these are the most recommendable techniques we make to to the people, of course. For example, to use the peels of some fruits to make another dish. There are then also a book of recipes concerned with sustainability and teach people how they can use leftovers or something that they think as leftovers, that they think that they have no kind of utilization. Some books with some specifications and recipes in how to use how to use that leftovers. So it is a very emergent topic, and I think the population is starting to learn something, and they are not being more sustainable. They are not wasting money, and that is also important because they pay for that pill, they pay for the water that they are using to make that boiling that vegetable. So why not use it? Not only from the perspective of the sustainable world, that it can be not so easy for some people to see, but if we show to the people that they are wasting money, and you are giving an opportunity to those people to make, for example, another meal with something that they will throw away, that is important, and they will see in an easier manner.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you.
Sure, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an engaging and thought-provoking tutorial session. The discussion truly helped us reflect on how we can bring together better nutrition, taste, and safety while keeping sustainability at the at the core of our food choices. It was wonderful to hear the diverse perspectives and ideas shared by the participants. Sessions like this remind us that the journey toward healthier and safer food systems began with awareness, collaboration, and a willingness to innovate. With that, we come to the close of yet another insightful day of the GIAN program. So let's take a moment to reflect on the wealth of knowledge we have gained today. We began the day with a fascinating session on eating competence, where we explored how our attitude, behavior, and everyday food choices deeply influence not just nutrition but also our overall well being. The lecture beautifully emphasized that eating is not merely about nutrients, it's about balance, awareness, and enjoyment of food. This was followed by an eye opening lecture on vending machines, a topic we often overlook but one that plays a growing role in modern food systems. The discussion shed light on the importance of hygiene, safety protocols like HACCP, and the role of trained food handlers in ensuring that convenience never begins at the cost of food quality or safety. The final classroom discussion brought everyone together to share perspective on achieving better nutrition without compromising taste, a conversation that truly tied together the themes of sustainability, innovation, and consumer responsibility. Together, these sessions reminded us that building a healthier food environment begins with competence, accountability, and collaboration across every level, from individual habits to industrial practices. We'll now move on to the next part after the tea break for the assessment exam. So, all the best, everyone. Thank you.